Hey everybody and welcome. I'm Mr. T and today we're making tempo and rhythm counting simple. Get your metronome and pull out a practice pad. This is Rhythm Section. Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're talking about tempo and rhythm. We'll learn some vocabulary and we'll learn some drills to help practice the basics around counting rhythm notation. Let's get started. The first term to define is tempo. The tempo, or the beat, is constant. It is the unchanging, you could say, speed of the song. The tempo, or the speed of that beat, is represented in a term called beats per minute, or BPMs. Now, how we count those beats depends on the time signature. The time signature of a musical piece tells us how many beats are in a measure and what type of notes get a beat. Rhythm is different than tempo. Rhythm is the pattern of notes that you place in the tempo. It's the notes within the musical piece's time. It's the pattern you hear, the rests and the notes played. That is the rhythm. The biggest difference between tempo and rhythm is that the tempo is constant. Unless intentionally changing it in the music, the tempo does not shift. It is the same throughout the piece. But the rhythm can be many things. I promise not to talk for too long, but I can demonstrate the difference between tempo and rhythm by using a metronome that I downloaded as an app onto my personal device. I've set this metronome for a time signature of 4/4, and the beats per minute are 80. That's 80 beats in 1 minute. It sounds like this. That sound is the tempo. It does not change. It is constant. It is always there. The rhythm is whatever I play within that time that is on time. The sound of the metronome is the tempo. The pattern I played on the drum is the rhythm. Earlier I mentioned time signatures, and I'll talk briefly to them now. Time signatures show you how many beats are in a measure and what notes get the beat. 4/4 is such a common time signature that anytime you turn on the radio, there's a 90% chance the music is in this time. It's so common that it's referred to in music as the common time. Today, we'll be conducting our drills in common time. If you'd like to explore time signatures more, there are resources down below. A great way to practice is to set a metronome for a certain beats per minute and continue to play on your pad within that time, but allowing yourself to freestyle and explore. What rhythms can you create? What different patterns can you put together? A whole note fills a full measure of music in the time it takes. A half note fills half the time. A quarter note, a quarter of the time, etc., etc. As we will be working in 4/4 time, this makes counting fairly straightforward. If we are talking whole notes, then we are talking one note every 4 beats, since there are 4 beats in a measure, and a whole note fills a full measure of music. This is an example of a whole note in 4/4 time. I will count as I play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice that each measure had only one note in it. Half notes take up half the time, so you can fit 2 of them in a measure. Here's what half notes sound like in 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Caught a little rim there. But notice the strikes landed on 1 and 3. Those are half notes. Quarter notes are great. They count 1, 2, 3, 4 because there are 4 of them in a measure, hence the term quarter notes. Quarter notes in 4/4 time sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, Until now, we have counted using numbers. Eighth notes are interesting because they get counted with the word and, which is represented by the addition sign in music. Eighth notes sound like this. I'll count as I play. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Notice that the eighth notes go all the way through the measure, including that last and after the 4 count. The last played note we'll talk about today is the 16th note. 16th notes count in a really fun way. They count 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. The E and the are what we are now adding. We can fit 16 of these notes in a measure because they are very quick. Here are 16th notes counted and played. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. When you see a rest, that means don't play. And it will tell you for how long not to play based on the type of rest it is. Just like the notes we reviewed, there are quarter rests, half rests, 16th rests. Check out below, you can see resources for all of the notes we reviewed and their coordinating rests. The drill we're going to do next is designed to help you improve your tempo and timekeeping. I'll be using a metronome which I downloaded for free, and this metronome is set for 80 beats per minute. I'll be using both hands on my primary pad, and I'll be alternating right and left hand, playing along with the metronome. I'm going to play 2 measures of each note. I'm going to play 2 measures of whole notes, 2 measures of half notes, 2 measures of quarter notes, etc., all the way through 16th, and then back again. I'm playing it on one drum for now, and later I can expand to the rest of the kit. This is, at 80 beats per minute, the tempo drill. I will count it and play it this time. 1, 2, 3, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, all the way back to whole notes. Alternating my hands. Was it perfect? Not at all. I definitely need more practice, but that's the point of the drill. And it shows that it's good for all levels of drummers. At 80 beats per minute, that's great control, working those hands, generating power from the 3 fingers, and keeping a consistent tempo. There's one more piece of notation I'd like to discuss today, and that is the accent. When you see an accent above a note, it means to strike that note stronger than you would your normal notes. It means that this note is meant to stand out. I'm going to demonstrate in a series of 16th notes right now. See if you can spot the accent. If you heard one strike stand out, that was the accented note. The last drill I'd like to leave you with today is a drill to practice accents. It's called the accented tempo drill, and it consists of playing quarter notes. That means alternating right and left hand, 1, 2, 3, 4. But you're going to accent one of those notes every measure. For the first 2 measures, it is the 1 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But for the next 2 measures, you will accent the 2 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you've done 2 measures of that, if you haven't guessed it, you're going to accent the 3 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And once you've played 2 measures of that, you will accent the 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All of this is played at a constant tempo. And when you get to that final 4 count where you're accenting a 4, it's tricky. You have to start again with the accented 1 count. Take your time with this one. It's a great way to build up your chops. This is the accented tempo drill at 80 beats per minute with 2 measures of each accent before it rotates to the next count. One, two, three, four. 1, 2. Shift it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Folks, that does it for Rhythm and Tempo. Check out the resources below and practice those drills. Join us next video. We'll be talking about 4/4 rock and pop drums. Until then, keep your beats tight and your fills clean. See you next time.